Hello, hello. Just to check, can you all hear me clearly? Yes, okay, cool. I would also expect your voices to be a bit louder than this. Yeah, so just to introduce myself a bit, I'm Shiktra, and honestly, I'm not very important today. We have three important guests, and we are here to listen more about them. But let me just introduce what I do or the organization that I'm from. So I'm from this youth-led podcast called the Sambal Pod. So it has a very weird name. It has sambal in it because the only reason is very simple. I don't tolerate very spicy food, and I realize how much impact spicy food can have, especially for people who don't tolerate spicy food. So our aim is simple. We try to deliver as much impact as possible, and we try to use sambal as a motivation to deliver spicy like sambal conversations. So I'm very grateful to UPM for giving us the opportunity to have a live podcast here today. And we will actually start off with the first guest. Okay, so before we actually start off, I just want to thank all of you all for coming here. Thank you so much for your time. And just, for clarity reasons, I'm just going to say that Ms. Rani is going to be the first guest, and then we'll go on with Ms. Amanda and Dr. Sufyan. Yeah, just to make it clear for all of us. Okay, so Ms. Rani, I'm going to give you the floor to introduce yourself briefly. And then, if possible, please also share like the numbers of years it has taken for you to reach your current role today.
Okay, thanks, Shiktra. Okay, thanks, Shiktra. It's very good to see all of y'all today. Fresh students, fresh energy. Okay, so my name is Saarani. I am currently a PhD candidate in University Malaya. I am doing my PhD in Biosafety Law. And I'm also teaching postgrad student in UM, is also in Biosafety Law. So Biosafety Law, it's a very, very emerging field. So it focuses on, I'm sure you have heard of GMOs, genetically modified organism, and now we have gene editing. So Biosafety Law is about how are we going to regulate GMOs and gene editing. How do we make sure that it doesn't have any bad impact to the environment, health, and all this? So it has took, I started my career when I was an undergrad student. Okay, during my undergrad student itself, I started to explore. And during my undergrad days, my goal was not only to get my degree, but I have already started to work on my career. So that's why within a 7 years time, I can be a lecturer already now. So that is a brief thing about me.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Saarani. Ms. Amanda, you have the mic with you, right? So yes, please briefly introduce yourself.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I think it's working. Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Amanda here. Actually, before I move into ESG space now, I work in public policy for the first 5 years of my career. For the public policy, basically, I started my career in Sabah, and I work with two Sabah state ministers, which is the Minister of Health and People Wellbeing of Sabah and Minister of Youth and Sports of Sabah. That time, I served as the private secretary to the minister, and from there, I understand how the government agency work, and then from there I also understand what people thinking on the ground as well. But after I spent 2.5 years in the Sabah state government, I moved to KL since 2020, and I work as a public policy researcher during another 2.5 years, and my focus was in economic, social, and also environmental issue. And maybe you have a question why I suddenly turned from public policy to ESG, because actually in the end of 2022, I was the parliamentarian candidate for the election, and I contest in Kota Kinabalu, Sabah. Although I did not win during that election, that was my turning point for me to move into sustainability, where I already have passion since my university years. And from there, I feel that it's very good for me to explore sustainability for 2.5 years now, 2.5 years now, because from there I know how the private sector work, and now I'm as the entrepreneur, I also can see that how people think about it and how company is trying to advocate in sustainability. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Amanda. Dr. Sufian, on to you.
Hello. Okay. So, hello everyone. My name is Sufian Azizan. I am a postdoctoral scientist in Cancer Research Malaysia. Just a little bit of background on my academic. I graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Biotechnology, actually, majoring in genetics. I graduated from the University of Melbourne, Australia. And then I got the opportunity to continue my study straight away to PhD under a Melbourne International Research Scholarship. So that's what I did. And I pivoted a little bit into PhD in science, but mainly in epigenetics, studying malaria parasites. So you might be wondering, oh, why are you in cancer research now? So after I finished and graduated with a PhD, I suddenly thought I'm more interested in pivoting my knowledge or transferable skills into human cancer research. So I came back to Malaysia for a little bit, finished my PhD, because it was during COVID time, so I had to finish my PhD in Malaysia. I did that, and then I moved to Singapore for my first postdoctoral fellowship at Nanyang Technological University in Singapore. But then it was only for about quite a short stint, so for about 1.5 years, and then I moved back to Malaysia and I landed a position for my second postdoc, which is in Cancer Research Malaysia. And currently I've pivoted from malaria research to human cancer research. So that's a little bit about me.
Okay, thank you so much, Doctor. Okay, before we move on to the next segment, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like the room is a bit too quiet today. So, yeah, please allow me to ask you all a bit of questions lah. So, yeah, I'm already seeing some panicking faces. Don't worry, I won't be asking any random questions. Yeah, I just want to know, out of curiosity, are all of you UPM students? No. Oh, okay, boleh kuat sikit. Tak apa, you can say it louder. So, who is not from UPM? Can you all maybe like raise your hands? Does that mean you are Malaysians or you are international students? International students, I see. Okay, very nice to meet you. Welcome to Malaysia. I'm not sure if this is your first time in Malaysia, but nasi lemak is pretty good lah, I guess. Yes. Other than that, I'm not sure. I mean, yeah, nasi lemak Malaysia, yes. Nasi lemak. Okay, so before we move on to the next segment, allow me to... I know that today's segment is about 3 of our guests, but allow me to also talk a bit about myself, because apparently I love attention. And yes, I actually want to share a bit of why I decided to choose 3 of these speakers, because I apparently had the honor to actually choose 3 of them and to actually get to know them a little. So the reason why I choose our first guest, Miss Saarani, is because she is actually a biotech alumni. So she did her degree in biotech, and then now she's actually a law PhD student. So I was like, how is that even possible? So yeah, so that is what we want to know today. So we're going to learn more about her career journey today, and that's one of the main reasons why I chose her here. And the second guest, Miss Amanda, newsflash, if any one of y'all have not realized or were not paying attention to the introduction just now, she's not even from a STEM background. She's not from science at all. So because she's not from science, some of y'all might be thinking, is this a last minute guest? Were we not able to get people on time? Yeah, we did have a bit of rush to get guests, but honestly, that's not the reason why I got her. Miss Amanda has been a guest on the Sambal Pod for a few times as well. And one of the main reasons is because of her strong background in policy, and the fact that she is currently now in the ESG industry. So I personally want to know, can STEM students pivot in the ESG industry? And can we get richer there? Because sometimes working in the lab, we have lower salaries. We have to be realistic as well. So these are the pivoting opportunities that I want to know, at least from Miss Amanda. Okay, so the third one, Dr. Sufian. So Dr. Sufian, as you all very well know, cancer researcher. And I think maybe to a lot of y'all, cancer research might be something that you're all very familiar with. Are you all familiar with cancer research? You all can speak up. Yes, okay, I'm assuming yes. The majority consensus, yes. Okay, cool. So, okay, well, all of you all are very familiar with cancer research. I am actually not that familiar with cancer research because I came from a chemistry background. So maybe one of my biggest questions is, why is there still not a cure for cancer? And is it true that there are a lot of conspiracies behind cancer research? So these may be some of the things that we might discuss in this conversation today. So anyway, before I start asking the questions, I know it's my job to ask questions. But like I said, I don't only like attention, I also like things to be a bit different, a bit casual, and I like everyone to get involved. So now I'm actually going to move on to segment 2, which is a small, very short game, I would say, called the Career Roulette. So what we would do is, we would actually get the technical team, because they have been given a roulette link, and on the roulette link, you would actually see a wheel on the slide. So as you all can see, we cannot really see the projector properly. So once they have clicked on the link later, yeah, you all can wait a little, but once they have clicked on the link later, I would need your help to help us read out the questions, because these are questions that would be given to our particular guests. So yeah, just give us a moment on that. Okay, so they're going to spin for the first time. So just spin and let's see what question comes out. I would need your help to read it out for us because I really can't crane my neck and see it. So what's the question? Can anyone read it? Can someone read it out for me? Any one of our guests? Can someone read it out for us at least?
What sparked your interest in sustainability? Was there a defining moment?
Okay, who was the question directed to?
Mr.
Okay, Miss Amanda, please.
Very good question. Actually, earlier I did mention why I switched from public policy to sustainability, and what sparks my interest is because during university I already know sustainability, and during second year of university I managed to go Taiwan and China to visit some company, and one of the bank actually they asked me whether I'm interested to do corporate social responsibility internship. That time was like 10 years ago, and then the next year I decided to go to Taiwan for 2 months internship there, and over that 2 months I know that actually that's my interest, and I know that if let's say we don't advocate and change the world, we will not make the world a better place. So that's why I'm in sustainability space now.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Amanda, for your response. And let's move on to the second spin. I will also need someone's help to read it out. Can anyone help us?
If you could go back to your undergraduate days, what advice would you give yourself?
Who?
Saarani?
Miss Saarani, okay.
Okay, during my undergrad days, one advice that I want to give myself is, okay, during my undergrad days itself, I decided that I didn't want to work in the lab. I wanted to do something else. I didn't like to stay in the lab. But now I'm like into this biosafety field and all this. But I have a challenge that, now I have to speak to scientists. When they speak about their research, I can get a bit blurred because I didn't focus much during my lab during that time. So now I wish I could have done lab work more intensely during that time. So try to utilize the lab skill as much as you can. Yes.
I think that is very solid advice, and maybe that is advice that I should have taken also during my undergrad days. So to all of you undergrad students, please focus in your classes, no matter how boring they may be. You never know how you may benefit from them. Okay, can we get the third spin? And as usual, someone to kindly help us read out the question. What is the question? Why is everyone's reaction like that?
Is there a cure for cancer?
Who is the question for? Oh, Dr. Sufian. Okay.
Hello. Hello. So short answer is there is no one cure for cancer. So there is no magic bullet. You don't, because cancer is actually an umbrella term. It's like how you define infections. There are fungal infection, there are microbial infection. So if someone asks you, is there a cure for infection, you would ask them to specify what do you mean by infection, what kind of infection. So cancer is in lay people's or in public's opinion, they think cancer is one thing. It's actually a very heterogeneous family of diseases. So breast cancer, for example, is as different as leukemia and as different as heart disease, for example. They are not similar at all. The only thing that is underlying all of these cancers are that they are uncontrollably growing in your body. So I would say the short answer is there is no magic bullet, there is no one cure, but what we are starting to understand, at least now, is that different cancers are different and very unique to the specific patients. So what a lot of cancer research are doing is actually trying to develop treatments that is very personalized to patients. You kind of want to develop assays or diagnostic or biomarkers that we can test on specific patient, and then from there we can try to tailor the treatment for that patient's cancer. So we are mostly heading towards personalized medicine for cancer instead of a one cure for all cancer, which I don't think is possible, unfortunately. So that's the short gist of it.
Okay, Dr. Sufian, you're not off the hook yet. Okay, I'm just curious. Are you familiar with Avengers?
Yep.
Okay, would you call cancer the Thanos of the human body, because it's so hard to get defeated, because you need to identify, you need to destroy all his rings, right, in order to actually destroy him.
Yeah,
so
I would say that is a good analogy.
Yeah, the Thanos of the human body.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I just wanted to get that clarification. Okay, cool. Okay. Also, just a PSA to the international students here. I think just now I asked if we have any international students, and I said nasi lemak is a good dish, right? You should also probably try lontong, satay, chee chong fan, chapati. I'm not sure why I'm feeling hungry now, but since you are in Malaysia, have the opportunity to try a lot of food, because we Malaysian, I mean, it's not just me with the Malaysian pride lah. We really have good food, so don't miss out on the opportunity. Okay, can I get one last spin, please? I guess Miss Amanda is very popular today. The wheel likes you. Okay, so can someone choose a speaker and read out the question? You can choose between one of them. Please don't choose me. Anyone? Don't be shy. We're all students. Yep, sure.
What's the absolute radius of coolest thing you've ever had to handle, look at, or analyze for your job? And Dr. Sufyan.
Okay, Dr. Sufyan.
Okay, so I mentioned already I did my PhD in malaria. So my lab was I was a wet lab scientist. My background is wet lab. I didn't actually explicitly mention just now, but right now at Cancer Research Malaysia, I'm mostly a bioinformatician. So a bioinformatician mainly works with genomic multi-omics data, and we
How you're going to do the insertion of the foreign GNA and all these things. Okay, I can imagine it to up to a certain level. So these are like the skills that I've transferred. And also the whole reason behind this is when I was doing this final year project thing, when I was like planting, my brinjals were like almost dying. So every day I will like go and talk to the brinjal. I will say, please don't die. I can't grad my samples and all these things. And one thing that I sparked my mind is, even for me, doing this small thing is so difficult. How a farmer would feel? How difficult is it for them? So how could we contribute something to them? So, end of the day, people think agriculture is all about, you need a good climate, good land and all this. But the most basic thing is you need a good quality of seed. No one really talks about the seed. You have to give a good quality of seed. So how are we going to produce it? So that is why we need to embrace all these modern biotechnologies. So when I saw there's like so many scientists who do so much of research, there's like so much of high impact research. One thing I noticed is all this research is staying in the lab. It's not coming out. It's not being commercialized. End of the day, any research that you do, people need to benefit out of it. Okay. Then I saw the gap between this research to commercialization. So the gap is because there's like so much of regulatory bottleneck. There's like no much experts in that area. So that is what made me to get into this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, don't put the mic down
Yeah.
yet. I have one more question. Because you mentioned the fact about how a lot of the research actually stays in the lab. And I think this is quite a common thing that a lot of us hear. So actually, I want to know why all this research actually stay in the lab. Is there a particular reason behind that?
Okay. So when this research, it wants to go to the commercialization stage, it has to go through this regulatory pathway, correct? So we have the regulators, but most of the regulators, they don't have the technical knowledge in this field. They regulate it in a very admin kind way, in a traditional checklist kind of way. Okay, you have this. Okay, you don't have this. No, we can't know. But in science, it doesn't works like that. We have to do a very case by case regulation, correct? Regulatory thing. So that's why now we need more experts in that field. Okay, because now one thing is, and also it takes time for regulations to evolve. Science moves in a very fast pace and regulation takes time. So for example, in the Biosafety Law, Cartagena Protocol is the main law. It was drafted in the year 2000. So it was initially drafted with thinking of GMO, insertion of foreign DNA, but now we already have gene editing. Gene editing does not involve insertion of foreign DNA, but it is still a modern biotechnology tool. So it still falls under Cartagena Protocol. So there's like so many complications over there. So that's why there's like one thing, we don't have that expert. So we can't do we are very less of science-based risk assessment. We are not doing a science-based thing. So it's a very traditional kind of tick the box kind of a regulation. That's why.
Understood. So it's very hard to actually make sure that these techniques are relevant to the regulations,
Yeah.
especially since the regulations are done like many years before,
Yes.
and you can't keep up with modern technology. With that said, I'm asking this on the students' perspective. Would that mean there's a very high demand of jobs when it comes to regulation in Malaysia?
No. Okay.
That is sad,
so
but
sorry.
okay.
Okay. When it comes, why there's no much demand in the... one thing is in Malaysia, when we are talking about agriculture itself, we have very limited opportunities because we don't really adapt modern biotech for agriculture. But when it comes to the pharmaceutical, I think regulatory has a very high demand. I come across a lot of job opportunities like, this Dua Pharma, and then there's like Novartis. If you see, they always hire this regulatory people. Yes, so they need regulatory. So in the healthcare, in the medical biotechnology, I quite see a demand. There's a lot of job opportunities over there. But in agriculture, yes, it's very limited. But globally, if you want to become an expert in this field, you are much welcome. You will get the visibility that you want. But you must be ready to be more resilient. Yeah, it's not easy with agriculture when it comes to Malaysia because we don't have much political will for now in this field. Yeah.
Okay, but that is in Malaysia for now. So any biotech students here, I'm sure there are biotech students. If you want to bring Malaysia name up internationally, or even to our international fellow students here who are from the biotech field, maybe you can consider getting into the regulation field globally and bring up your country's name as well. So yeah, that is probably something to think of. Okay, Miss Manda, we'll move to you. And the question is pretty much similar, but I'm just going to add on a bit because you said you came from a very strong, not only policy, you had a bit of political experience as well. And then from there, you decided to go into ESG. So please share a bit about that, like how you use those skills to in your current field, and also how we STEM students can also be a part of that niche as well.
So during the first 5 years of public policy career is that I know how the policy being drafted, and then from there how it reflect to the ground. And I also did public policy research, so actually I also managed to incorporate some of the research input into the policy recommendation. And sometimes when there are some public read through your article, and when they feel that this article is worth to interview, some of the media will interview you, and then afterwards when the words being spread out through podcasts or through the TV, then government sometimes will see there are certain policy they need to take note, and then from there they will incorporate into the policy and further improve. And for sustainability, actually it's just a switch of mindset from the public sector to the private sector, because for now, if let's say in terms of sustainability, we will look more into companies and how company actually can move away from the profitability mindset and start to think of how to make a company to be more inclusive, and also let more employee to feel the belonging in the workplace. And just now I quite agree of what Saarani mentioned is that actually for agriculture part, although Malaysia has a lot of resources and many land around the country, but it not being fully utilized, and a lot of food we ended up had to import from other countries, and our food price is getting more expensive. So actually, if let's say government can really advocate more farmers to plant the necessary, Malaysia in the end will not really have to rely from another country to get the necessity. So I think this is the part that you can look into if let's say you are interested to venture into sustainability, because sustainability, it can be quite broad, whereby you not only look into like agriculture perspective, but also can be the employee perspective and also the company policy perspective as well. But for you to venture into sustainability, actually you also need to read a lot, because you need to know what different industry expecting, like manufacturing, construction, accountancy. So from there, when the time you advise the client, you can better relate to the client needs. So like if let's say you want to change from biotech to sustainability field after you graduate from university, actually this is possible, because I mentor a mentee, and she managed to venture into sustainability, and then now she's on the way having interview from one of the big four firm, And if let's say she is successful, then she actually can work into her ideal role, which is sustainability consulting. So if you manage to read a lot by knowing what different industry aspect and also what different sustainability standard require for you to put in the reporting format, then from there you actually feel that it's not really difficult for you to pivot from biotech to sustainability.
Okay. Yeah. Just hold the mic for a while. Okay. Miss Manda, I think just now I did mention of like whether there is a potential for STEM students to actually get rich if we enter this ESG niche. So yeah, maybe is it possible to give like an answer? Can we actually get higher salaries? Do we actually can we actually expect better career growth, especially in this niche, because this niche is pretty much in demand in Malaysia at the moment?
I think for this still need some time, because now, to be honest, still have a lot of companies at the awareness stage, and maybe next year or 2027 it will be better when the time more companies demand for this sustainability job. And we still need to remember for Malaysia, starting salary normally is a little bit low, and it did not have much adjustment compared to 1990s or 1980s. So if let's say for the sustainability job, whether they can get rich, is that they also need to have some years of experience first, maybe at least 3 to 5 years, then only able to get more income.
To get rich lah.
Yes.
Okay. Understood. Okay. So Dr. Sufian, we'll move on to you. And I think just now we have briefly mentioned that you have briefly mentioned that you came from a biotech degree, and now you would call your current industry biomedicine. Would that be correct?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, feel free to share the skills that you have taken from your biotech degree in your current niche. And if it's not related, why did you make the switch? You know, did you suddenly hate biotech and you want to go in biomedicine? Yeah, feel free to share your story.
So actually my background was biotech, but I was actually sponsored by Mara to go study Bachelor of Science in Biotech. I was not so back then there was no freedom to choose. So you got offered a scholarship. Of course, you just took it, right? But at that time as well, it was around, I would say, 2011, 2012. Those were the times when there was this local or Malaysian hype of, we're going to drive our country into a biotech heavy job. So I thought I would be secure in terms of jobs. When I finished my undergraduates, I actually came back to Malaysia for about a year. After my graduation, I came back to Malaysia, and I remember having so much trouble landing a job, because I think at that time as well, I wasn't aware of what kind of opportunities I can get. I graduated with honors, so so what you guys call FYP, so my honors year, I actually did a wet lab attachment. So my honors, my thesis was mostly about neurology research. So at that time, I started to see or gain skills that is related to wet lab. So at that time, I thought, maybe it's easier for me to pivot slightly to something like biomedicine. So that time I got a research assistantship in Biosys UKM, just for 6 months actually, because I then quit because I got a PhD offer. But basically, during those times, I wasn't sure. I didn't know what to do next. I enjoy wet lab, but not as much as I thought. When I was doing my PhD, I actually realized that like Ms. Saarani said, I actually honestly do not like working in the wet lab because you have a model organism, you work around it. You don't have a life really. I thought like this is not what I want to do later on. But when I was finishing my PhD, one of the facets of my research was also working with genomic data, and that's when I realized, oh, I actually like coding. I actually like writing algorithms or analyzing data, genomics data on computers, because you can just sit on your computer and just run a simulation or analysis. So I realized, oh, maybe that's how I can pivot. So I pivot to a more dry lab job later on, and I would say I'm quite happy where I am. I think as an advice to you guys, if you are interested, if you have like computational prowess or interests, it's a good idea to try to look into, because also you might have heard of AI assisted. AI is actually quite big in computational science right now, because we since the release of AlphaFold, if you have heard of it, it's basically how we have advanced biotechnology and biomedicine so much because of these AI breakthroughs. So if you are also interested in AI's computational science, it is also something that you can pivot from biotech. I think it's not difficult at all. So yeah.
Okay, so just to talk further on that, on the pivoting to computational part, what are the skills that we actually need to learn more, or like, because now we live in a world of online, a world of ChatGPT. It's very easy to get knowledge. Everything is on our fingertips, but sometimes we don't know what to prompt, or we don't know what to Google. So what are the things that we could do to just get started?
I think as a student, if you're really interested in computational science and you don't really take any classes during your undergrad about computational science, there are a lot of free Harvard courses, Coursera. Those are easy courses that you can take to have some kind of foundation, because to me, in terms of computational science, unless you are trying to develop softwares like bioinformatics softwares, you don't really need a very deep math understanding. Of course, you should know basic foundation of maths, but you don't need anything beyond I would say foundational level maths. In terms of technical or transferable skills, you can start looking into R. R is computer programs that, or computer programming language that people use to process a lot of genomics data. You can start learning basic Pythons, which is also another computer programming language. Those are mostly the things that people try to learn, because these are transferable skills, and I would say you are in a good position, because there are many computational scientists who don't have biology background, but there's not many, or there's not enough people who work in bioinformatics who have biology background, because that's what you need to succeed at the job. I would say you need to have a biology understanding of the problems that you are trying to solve. So
Okay, understood. So maybe some of us, especially to, the science students who don't really like wet lab, maybe you can actually achieve, your dream remote role, working with your laptop somewhere in Maldives and just coding. Maybe that is something possible. Yeah, if we get into computational biology. But yeah, just to have one last question on that. Is computational biology a developing niche in Malaysia at the moment?
I honestly am not sure of the current climate in academics, but I'm pretty sure MMU, for example, has bioinformatics degree already offered. I would say it is still a budding, developing or emerging studies, but bioinformatics is very heavy already in science. If you go to Australia, if you go to the US, a big lab would have bioinformaticians. They would have a computational part in their wet lab or in their research structure. So I would say we are quite lagging in terms of that, producing like true bioinformaticians. But one thing that we do have is we do have a lot of biology or science-based biotechnology background students, and I would think making the pivot is not as tall of an order. It's not difficult at all, as long as you really sit down and learn new things. And there are a lot of resources, like you said. Claude, I personally like Claude better than ChatGPT, to be honest. In terms of bioinformatics, you can ask questions about where to search. I wouldn't trust learning from them. I would ask or I would prompt them to give you some kind of basics
Where you can
from where you
start,
can
yeah.
start looking. And some of these AI chatbots are also quite good at scouring the internet. Back then, a few years ago, you might get hallucinations where they hallucinate papers that don't exist. But nowadays, it's quite good already. So you can just ask, oh, which paper I can read to start learning, and then you might get a good. But honestly, I think don't rely on AI too much at your level. You should just, because Google is actually quite good already. Just go to Google Scholar and just put in whatever field you want to try to read, and then you just read any highly cited journals that you can find.
Okay, yeah, so this is a gentle reminder that maybe not all students will like, but yeah, don't rely on ChatGPT so much. We have a brain, let's try to use it as much as we can. Okay, so we were busy talking about what you're doing at the moment, so we're going to bring it back a little, throw back a little. If you guys can, be a bit nostalgic as of when you first started, when you finish your degree, like I don't know, many years ago, I'm assuming. And maybe we'll start with you, Miss Saarani, first. If you could share how it felt to be a very newly undergraduate jobless girl trying to navigate the job market at that time, like what were the challenges that you were facing?
Okay, so during my undergrad days, since I didn't want to do things in the lab and things, to be honest, at the beginning I wanted to go out from the biotech field. Okay, and for me, I was not really exactly finding for a biotech job. No, you know what was my first job? Because I studied in UMS in Sabah also, so I was in Kota Kinabalu that time. My first job is, I'm sure you know Permai Polyclinics, right? I was a clinical manager. That was my first job. It was a 24 hours clinic. It's a very big clinic. It's not a small clinic. It's a very big, people in Sabah, they know how big is that clinic. And it's a 24 hours clinic. I have to manage doctors, the nurses, the entire administration. Because I took that job because I felt administration skill is very important. So I took that job to really learn the admin skills. But even while doing the job, what I will do is, whenever there's any biotech related conference or workshop, I'll keep attending. I will also keep myself updated. I continued all my networking and everything. And then after that, I went to a agriculture based company. There I was doing some sales and marketing for more than 2 years. At that time, I was already back to KL. I was doing my masters. So I was like working and doing my masters because I feel financial power is also very important. I didn't want to completely go and study and financially, I wanted to balance both. So at night I attend my master's classes in UM. So daytime I work, and then after my master's, then only I landed in a proper biotech job in Malaysian Biotech Information Center. So all the skills really helped me, because when I go to Malaysian Biotech Center, I need to do the admin work. I also need to do sales and marketing. So all these skills were transferred to my the biotech job. Yeah.
Okay, so if you don't mind sharing, how many years did that took? Like from your biotech degree for you to actually get a so-called relevant biotech job? Yes, how many years?
3 years plus only.
3 years plus. Okay, I mean maybe for you it's 3 years plus only. For the students, maybe they were expecting to just get the job right after graduation. We never know. So 3 years for you.
No, I mean, I feel right. We have to be realistic and we have to understand the biotech field in our country. We rather than you just being like jobless for a long time, just take the job what you are doing, what you get first, because all that skills can be transferred later. Okay, rather than you when you go to an interview and show you are like jobless for 6 months, 7 months, rather if you show that you are doing something, it will really help a lot. Yes, so that I would suggest.
Okay, I think that is very solid advice. I would agree with that. Okay, to you, Miss Menda. Okay, so yes, just to maybe you could refresh my mind a bit. What degree did you pursue in? Did you pursue in finance?
Yes, it's economics and finance.
So you went to policy after your economics degree?
No, actually, I had a gap year and did several internships.
Okay.
And afterwards, I did my master in international relations. Only then I entered into public policy.
Okay, so you have pivoted a lot.
Yes.
Okay, so maybe you want to share a bit of like, if you could remember, I'm not sure when did you graduate, probably around 22, 23 years old, a bit of the mindset of 23 years old Amanda, who just finished like her finance degree. What were you thinking at that time?
At that time, to be honest, I just trying to see different companies what they are doing, because I started my first internship in Taiwan, which is one of the bank there, and then afterwards I worked in startup in Singapore also for 2 months, and afterwards I did my third internship in one of the think tank called Ideas, and from there I explore policy research and get to know Malaysia much better. And afterwards I did my master. Then from there I decided to back to Malaysia for good, and now I already back to Malaysia for 7.5 years.
Wow, okay, so now you're really anak Malaysia.
Yes.
Okay, so before we talk about what you're doing now, I still want to flash back a bit, a bit of throwback. You said you worked in a startup for 2 years. I'm not sure if you're very familiar. Maybe the Korean drama fans, if they are anyone here, they're very familiar with the drama called Startup. It's a pretty old drama, I think. But anyway, whether you're a Korean drama fan or not, I think for a lot of youths, everyone wants to be their own founder. Everyone wants to start their own startup. So maybe you could share a bit about your experience working in one.
Basically, what I just mentioned, that one was like at least 10 years back, whereby I interned in the startup for 2 months. But maybe I can share what is more relevant now.
Sure, please go ahead.
Because like last year, I decided to came out from company and become freelancer first, and I become freelancer for like 1 year plus, and only recent months I become business owner and started my own company. And basically the shift from from employee to freelancer and then to entrepreneur is very different, because each stage you require some expectation, and there are a lot of challenges for you to go to, because from there it's like you need time to build your brand, and then you need to let people know that you are doing sustainability, and then also need to let people know that even you pivot, you also have the necessary skills and knowledge. So what Saarani mentioned, I quite agree, because at first I also started my career not really in public policy per se. Sometimes it can be admin work also. It can be government admin, it can be corporate admin. But from there, you can actually learn necessary skill. And then now when the time I build my own business, I also can apply some admin or some management skill into my company, so I can better manage the company as well.
Okay, so basically all the experience you had, even though maybe on paper they don't seem that relevant, but they have somehow contributed to the role that you are playing today. Would that be correct to conclude?
Yes. that's
Okay,
true.
okay, understood. So basically the short conclusion here is just take whatever job you can find at this moment and just go to work. You never know when the skills will help you. I guess that is a very short conclusion that we can take.
And another thing is you never know who you will meet during, when you have to put yourself out there first.
Okay, yeah. Who knows? You might meet your future CEO, your future co-founder. I mean, future husband or wife is also very important lah. But future CEO, future co-founders, we never really know who we will actually meet. So I guess it's very important to put ourselves out there. Okay, understood. Okay, so Dr. Sufian, to you, I think you did share a bit about your lack of interest in biotech, but so I want to talk a bit about that. Despite that, you still decide to take on that Mara scholarship. So, was your decision to take on the scholarship? This is probably a bit different from their questions, but I'm just curious. Was your decision to take the Mara scholarship is literally because you would actually have an opportunity to go abroad, or you thought that you would at least have some sort of future with biotech because of the fact that you took it around year 2011, 2012 because of the government policies at that time? How was it for you?
Okay, that's a good question. I would say, so I came from a B40 family, so there is this idea that has been instilled in me that if you study abroad, you open up your networking, you know people, and that is true. Now that I look back, I do meet up people, and you open up your mindset, I would say. But during the time when I accepted I still remember I was about to register into UIA, and I got the Mara scholarship letter a few days before, and I just told my parents, "Oh, I'll take this because I will go to Australia." But I think it's always a balance between us being a little bit too young to decide on our career trajectory at that time. So I always thought, I'll just take it and learn what I can. During my SPM, I would say biology is the only subject that interests me. So I wouldn't say I don't have any interest in biotech. It's just that the leaning of biotech is mostly a little bit too engineering heavy than what I would like to do, which is more basic biology. So that's the context actually. And when I got I wouldn't say there's any regret when I did the degree, but I would say that if you have an opportunity to maybe work a few years after your undergrad, you should do that. I was fortunate enough to get a fast-track PhD, so I don't have any masters. Usually people do undergrad, masters, and PhD. If you get a chance to study in the US, they do have masters inside PhD program, so you can quit in the middle of PhD program and get a master's instead. They call it a mastering out. But in Australia, they don't have that. So you either do well enough to fast track, or you just do a master's. I would say if you are more questioning, maybe it's better, like Ms. Saarani said, to just get a work experience first. That's something that I would say I might want to change, but I was fortunate enough to get the scholarship. If I didn't get the PhD scholarship, I would actually decide to maybe work a few years first here, and then decide whether to further a master's or a PhD. Yeah, but if you're interested in academia, definitely you have to study until PhD usually, because that's how you get like professorship or assistant professorship.
Understood. That's how you get to all those big titles, and you suddenly get called an expert. Understood. But I'm just curious, because you did mention about it just now. Sometimes I think the problem with us is we might all have dreams, but we don't really know what to do. It's like we want to go pathway A. We also want to go with part B as well. So maybe like, for example, if you want to take your case as an example, doctor, maybe I would want to take a PhD, but at the same time, I also want money. So what should we do first? And what if like, sometimes there might be a lot of other concerns as of like, I want to take a PhD from a particular university, but I'm not sure if I'm eligible for that. But at the same time, I'm also applying for jobs. And oh, wow, this sounds a bit too personal for me.
Yeah, okay. So
what do you do about that?
So okay, let's be honest. I would say, I was not financially stable at all when I was doing PhD. Even in Australia, when you get a PhD scholarship, you get stipends. But if you compare that income with what a normal undergraduate, a normal bachelor graduate would earn, it's actually almost half less. So I didn't have like it's definitely not lavish. If you decide to stay in science and doing research, it's not something that will make you rich. That's something you need to bear in mind, and especially in Malaysia, if you go. When I started my research assistantship in BioSys UKM, I just got paid 1,500. That is not enough at all. I actually do a commute because my family home is in Seremban. So I do commute to Bangi to UKM every day, every morning, because I could not afford even a room to stay. So definitely, if it's an issue in terms of income, so it really something you have to think about whether you really want to sacrifice on that front. If you are privileged, if you have a good family backing financially, definitely use that privilege. Go for a master's, go for a PhD. But if you do not have that, unfortunately, you have to think of a balance, whether maybe work for a few years just to save money and then pursue your studies. Yeah. Okay,
yes, I understand that. But another question, what if they are still confused? They know that they either want to, it could be a master's or PhD, and, they're still confused as of whether they want a job or not. Would it be okay for them to just try applying for all and see, and just take what comes on? Would that be okay?
That's definitely something I did.
Okay. Okay.
I did not have the freedom or the liberty to choose, basically. Whatever came, I just took. That's, I guess, my principle at that time. I also think. Wait, you were saying something about choosing.
Yeah, but trying to make the right choice for you when you're confused. Yes.
It is. So if you get into the right job and you perform well, they do sponsor masters. Sometimes people do that. I'm not really sure about biotechs, but I have engineering friends who actually went into some engineering company. They worked for a few years and they perform well, and they said to their boss, can I actually get this promotion, but in order to qualify, can I also do a master's on the side, like part-time? And a lot of companies actually do sponsor that because they because I think people are assets. So you already working there is an asset to them. They don't want to lose you. So a lot of companies are willing to invest on human capital and making sure that you get the promotion. So that's why I think that's another thing you have to consider. Just get your foot in the door. If you have a job offer, and try to make it as relevant to your background. But if you can, just also consider that maybe you can just get your foot in the door. Just try that job for a year or two and then decide later. Yeah.
So now this question is going to be a bit more personal. Yeah, just now we asked you all to, go on a bit of memory lane, flashback to your younger selves. So yeah, I'm not sure whether you are happy or not so happy with your younger selves, but I feel like as human beings, we always have good things and not so good things about all of us. And I think it's very normal to have regrets. So I'm going to ask, what is your regret, Miss Saarani, especially when you were at the phase where you were job hunting? Is there, do you have any particular regrets or things that you feel like, you don't want the younger ones to repeat?
Okay. One thing, right? When you are young and you are also very passionate and, when you are, very driven, people will tend to take advantage out of you. Okay? They will expect you to do free things because they know you are very, driven and all these things. Okay, you cannot escape this part, right? You really cannot escape. But what I would say is, okay, you can do free things, but see if you are gaining something out of it or not. Okay, let's say even they can't pay you or something, see what else are you really gaining out of it. If you are gaining something, then you go for it. Okay, then so that is like some, I won't say really a mistake, but I also gained a lot out of it. So that is a thing that I would advise the younger people, especially when you are, very driven. People see that, okay, you really want to do, so they tend to take advantage out of you. So that is just the one thing I would say. Just be careful and alert. As much as you are open-minded and you want to try, but also just be a bit careful and be alert of people. That's all. Same question.
Same question, your regret. You're young.
Oh, okay. For me, I don't think I have much regret, to be honest, because when the time I decide to come back, I feel that I gain a lot of opportunity and also learn a lot. And when the time I move away from Sabah state government and I try to secure some job in KL, I think somehow the pathway also quite smooth because there are some network who recommend me for the job. So actually from here, I would like to advise that if you manage to join some networking event, you just utilize the time to network with necessary people, because who knows, you can get certain job opportunity from there. Yeah, that's my main takeaway.
You did mention about your, not having any regrets when you came back from Sabah government, and also when you came back to Malaysia. Do you have any regrets when you finish your degree? Like, maybe your first job hunting after your degree. Do you have any particular regrets? Or nothing at all?
Not really, to be honest. Just that I didn't expect I stay in Sabah first before I come to KL, because initially I first want to come KL, but the opportunity happened to be in Sabah. Yes.
For me, I wouldn't say I have any regrets as well. But I did, after I got my PhD, I was looking for a postdoc. So that's the natural pathway after you have your doctorate. If you want to stay in academia, you find postdoc position, postdoctoral. It's mostly a training for you to become an independent scientist. So if you think of your lecturers or professors, they have their own labs. They have people in the lab. I am not at that level. I am one of the people in the lab. So once you have do a few rounds of postdoc, then if you get a grant, then you can open up your own lab. I think one advice I can give you, if you want to stay in academia, you should definitely, when I was doing my PhD, I did not regret it one bit, because I chose the right mentor. I chose the right PI. We call it PI, principal investigator. I chose the right person. He was very supportive. He taught me a lot. I also chose the right PI when I was doing my final year project. But when I did my first postdoc in Singapore, I wouldn't name names, but that was not a great fit for me at all. That's why I only stayed for 1 year and a half. Once my contract ends, I did not want to extend. The money was good, obviously. Singapore, 3 times, I think, ish. But it cannot trade for your mental health. Also, you need to find a good PI. So during the interview, or let's say you finish your PhD and then you want to continue in academia, when you interview for a position, you are interviewing them as much as they are interviewing you. You need to know how their work culture are. You need to suss out what kind of values they have. Then you can decide, oh, is this the right fit for me? That's something I think, because there in academia it's slightly different in a sense that these PIs or professors, they have autonomy on the lab. There's no such thing as HR and stuff like that. Of course, there are university level HR if there are serious stuff, but in terms of decision making, it's mostly the PI's autonomy. So if you don't fit with the lab, it's very highly likely for you to not succeed in that lab. And I should ask you to consider leaving as soon as possible and find a better lab. I would say that's one experience that I learned that I kind of want to impart on you guys.
Okay. Just to clarify for context, in the Malaysian context, I hope my voice is loud enough for everyone to hear. The principal investigator is referring to supervisor in Malaysia, right? Would that be correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, if we are looking for supervisors for our masters and
Yes.
PhD and so on. Okay, just want to clarify on that. Okay.
Okay, I just want to add my regret. Being an undergrad, please don't doubt yourself so much. I think that is one thing I regret now. Like I used to doubt am I good? I always feel I'm weak. Okay, I cannot do that. Please don't do that. I really regret on that, because now I feel if I didn't doubt myself so much, I would be somewhere else right now. You see, I always used to think academically, oh, I'm not good really in academic. I can't do like that. But now in my PhD, I published a WOS Q1 paper for my PhD publication. So it's you never know. So just don't doubt yourself so much. That's very, very important. Just if you see opportunity, just go. Don't think oh, will I get it? Will someone choose me? Don't think all that. And also, there's no such thing as right or wrong choice, because you are still a very, very young. Okay, you can always keep changing things. Okay, can you imagine me starting from a clinic admin? Now I'm teaching postgrad in UM. Yeah. I didn't plan that day. I didn't plan okay, I want to be a lecturer. No. So I just took the opportunity that came my way, and I'm here today. That's all.
Okay, with that, I just want to know, before, because we're actually nearing the end of our podcast session already. So, like I said, I love attention, so I'm going to start asking your questions again. Yeah, so I'm not targeting anyone specifically, but yeah, just to anyone here, how are you feeling? Are you feeling good? Bad? Nervous? Worried? How are y'all? Anyone? You can just shout it out. Wow, only good. Are y'all worried? No. Maybe. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's relatable. That's valid. Sorry, I didn't hear that. A bit. Okay. Yeah. Is anyone excited after listening to these stories? Do you feel inspired? Yeah. Even if you don't feel inspired, just say inspired lah. Pity all of them. They took their time to come here. But yeah, jokes aside, honestly, even I am quite inspired by their stories.
I think we kept it as realistic as we can. We didn't show it as a fancy.
Yeah, I think that's the favorite part, and that's definitely one of my main personal agendas through this session. I wanted it to be as real as possible, not only for you guys. I guess I'm also a bit selfish. I'm also a student, so I need to learn for myself as well. Yeah. So taking note with all our positive emotions here. The last question is going to be. Honestly, I'm leaving the last question up to y'all. I have a list of questions, but I think I'm just going to leave it to you to share one last takeaway that you want to give to this crowd here. And I think we'll start with Dr. Sufian first. We just want to change the rotate.
One last takeaway. Let me think. I think yeah. I think one thing you have to remember is you as a student already have usable, transferable skills, and this only increases as you get into your first job and second job. So to echo what Ms. Saarani says, just if you're, let's say, okay, let's look at it from academia perspective. If you want to pursue a PhD, your master's, there are a lot of opportunities for scholarship, for example, overseas. If you're like me who doesn't have attachment, for example, you are not married, you don't have attachment to your family, or you are like independent enough, you can always consider going abroad for a few years, just if not for a study, just for some kind of jobs as well. You can start with Singapore, for example. You can also go somewhere in China if you can speak Mandarin. So what I'm trying to say is that don't really limit yourself. I understand imposter syndrome. Even I have it, I guess, even at this level. But at your level, you should really just fake it until you make it. Like think, oh, I definitely can learn. Definitely show that not only you have transferable skills, but you are also very malleable to learning. Employees like it when you are a blank canvas that they can teach you stuff. I think that's two things that you should think about when you are trying to explore opportunities. Yeah.
One last question to you, Doctor. Can you rate your studying abroad experience out of 10?
I've been very privileged and lucky for the position. I would say 10 out of 10. Okay, so mostly would be during my PhD, and that was not sponsored by the Malaysian government or whatever. That was from Australian government. During undergrad, I wasn't very fluent in English. I am naturally introverted, so it was very hard for me to adapt to their culture and make friends. I don't know, maybe you can relate. Even in Malaysia, maybe you find it hard to make friends at uni unless you join like theaters or whatever. But when I did my PhD there, you actually do talk to people, because when you do PhD, you're actually working. You're literally going 9 to 5 and even more actually. Just work with people, talk to people. So that kind of experience is something that I would not trade for anything. It really, I met my current best friends are mostly international. They are spread across Southeast Asia and Australia. So that's something that is I wouldn't trade it for anything. But yeah.
So next to Ms. Amanda.
Actually, for me, I will say more realistically is that not only you need to have the transferable skill, but also at the same time you need to know how you show your profile in your CV, and also how you present yourself during interview. Because for me, I noticed some of my friends or some of my mentee, they not really have idea how they position themselves in their CV. So in the end, they ask me how come they don't have the interview opportunity. I say because your CV has issue. So I give some comment. Then afterwards, they manage to go through the process and also manage to secure interview in the end.
Yes, and also speaking about the CV, try to use, I think now the technologies that you can use Canva, and also you can use ChatGPT to tailor your CV. It gives good points, So utilize the technology wisely. The technology is already there for us, so you can tailor it everything according to the job. And also start applying early. Don't wait until your convo to apply. Start the job hunting now itself. Go and link. Do you have LinkedIn account? Please have a active LinkedIn account. It's not just having one LinkedIn. Keep posting something. Create your visibility in LinkedIn. LinkedIn is very, very important. Okay, start posting. And also, if you all are still first year, second year, try to do extra internship during your sem break. Like for example, me during my degree program, I did 2 internships. One was in Malaysian Biotech Center. Another one was in Bioeconomic Corp, which is a Biotech Corp. It's a bioeconomy corp. So, try to do extra internship and also keep networking. Okay, wherever when you see there is some workshop or conference, just go and attend. Don't think, oh, it's not relevant to me. No, go and speak to people. Don't be scared. Yes, networking is very, very important. Start early, start now. Don't wait until you grad. Yeah.
Okay, I think that is definitely very solid advice. And I think, I'm not sure about you, but maybe for me, I'm a bit anxious. I think I need to start doing things after this talk. I need to definitely boost up my LinkedIn. Instead of maybe using TikTok and Instagram to flex, maybe we should start using our LinkedIn to flex. And, maybe LinkedIn should be the new TikTok for our generation. I don't know, maybe. So, yes.
It's very good platform to promote yourself, and then who knows, you will have speaking opportunity from them. Because this year I got quite a lot of opportunity from them.
Just a disclaimer, LinkedIn is not sponsoring this episode, okay? So if they're telling this, that means they're telling the truth.
It's a free advertisement recipe.
Okay, that is true. So with that, we are going to end the session. Thank you so much to three of our guests. And I'm just going to end this with what Dr. Sufyan mentioned just now, which was fake it till you make it. I think there was also something Taylor Swift said as well. I'm not sure, maybe I'm just exposing myself as a Swiftie. But anyway, thank you so much for all your time. If you enjoy this kind of STEM kind of contents and, just youth advocacy contents, I'm giving in a free promo here. This is definitely a promo. Do check us out. We are the Sambal Pod on Instagram. Thank you.